The market does not care that your furnace breaks in February. The repairman still wants a check. The grocery store still wants payment. The electric company still sends the bill. And if your portfolio is down at the same time, retirement can suddenly feel much more complicated than it looked on paper. That is the problem the three-bucket strategy tries to solve. Not by making retirement magical, not by promising higher returns, but by giving every part of your money a different job. One bucket is for now. One bucket is for soon. One bucket is for later. That sounds almost too simple, but that is why many retirees like it. When retirement money is all mixed together, every bill feels connected to the stock market. Every downturn feels personal. Every withdrawal feels like a decision made under pressure. The bucket strategy is really a way to separate pressure from planning. The first bucket is the money you may need soon. This is the calm bucket. It is usually cash, checking, savings, money market funds, or other very safe places where the main goal is not growth. The main goal is access. This is the money that pays the bills if the market is having a bad year. Groceries, utilities, insurance, property taxes, prescriptions, car repairs, the things that do not wait for Wall Street to feel better. For example, if a retiree needs $4,000 a month from savings to support their lifestyle, 1 year of cash needs is $48,000. 18 months is $72,000. 2 years is $96,000. That does not mean everyone should hold exactly that amount. Different people need different plans. But the point is simple. Bucket 1 is not about becoming rich. It is about not being forced to sell long-term investments at the worst possible time. This is the part many people miss. Cash may not feel exciting. In fact, cash can feel boring. But in retirement, boring can be useful. Boring can stop panic. Boring can give you time. The mistake is having too little money available for normal life. If every repair, bill, or withdrawal forces you to touch investments, then the market gets to decide when you sell. And the market is not always polite. But there is also an opposite mistake. Some retirees keep too much in cash because cash feels safe. The problem is that cash can lose buying power over time. Prices rise, groceries cost more, insurance premiums move up, home repairs do not get cheaper. So bucket 1 has a job, but it should not be asked to do every job. It is the short-term bucket. It protects the next chapter, not the entire book. The second bucket is the money for the next few years. Think of it as the waiting room. It is not supposed to be as risky as the long-term bucket, but it is also not just sitting there for next month's electric bill. This is often where retirees might hold more conservative investments, depending on their situation. Things like certificates of deposit, short-term bonds, high-quality bond funds, treasury bills, or other lower volatility assets. Again, this is not a personal recommendation. It is just the basic idea of the system. The second bucket gives the first bucket somewhere to be refilled from. That is why it matters. Imagine bucket 1 covers the next year or two. Bucket 2 can help cover the years after that. It creates a bridge. If the market has a rough stretch, a retiree does not need to immediately raid the long-term bucket. There is another layer in between. This is where the strategy becomes more emotional than mathematical. A lot of retirees do not panic because they are bad with money. They panic because everything feels connected. The checking account, the investment account, the market headlines, the repair bill, the monthly withdrawal. It all feels like one big problem. Buckets separate the problem into smaller pieces. If the short-term money is ready and the medium-term money is waiting, the long-term money can be left alone longer. That can make a retiree feel less like every market drop is an emergency. Here is a simple example. If someone needs $3,000 a month from savings, 3 years of withdrawals is $108,000. 5 years is $180,000. Those numbers make the system real. It is not just a cute name. It is a way of asking, how much money do I need available before I touch the money meant for later? That question alone can make retirement planning clearer. The third bucket is the long-term bucket. This is the money that is not supposed to pay next month's bills. It is there for the later years of retirement. This is often where growth investments live: stocks, stock funds, balanced funds, or other assets that can rise and fall more over time. The reason this bucket exists is simple. Retirement can last a long time. A person who retires at 65 may need money at 75, 85, or 95. That is 30 years of groceries, taxes, insurance, repairs, gifts, medical costs, and everything else life throws in for fun, because, apparently, retirement does not cancel surprise expenses. If all the money is kept too safe, inflation can become the danger. If all the money is kept too aggressive, market drops can become the danger. The three-bucket strategy tries to balance those two fears. Bucket 3 is allowed to move around more because it has more time. It does not need to be sold every month. It does not need to answer the phone every time the water heater breaks. Its job is to help the retiree keep up with the future. This is why the strategy can feel calmer than one big account. In one big account, a retiree may look at the balance and think, am I up or down today? With buckets, the question changes. The question becomes, which money is needed now? Which money is needed soon? And which money is for later? That is a much better question. The real power of the three-bucket strategy is not that it is perfect. It is not perfect. No retirement strategy is. The real power is that it gives a retiree a mental map. Without a map, every decision can feel emotional. Should I sell now? Should I wait? Should I cut spending? Should I move to cash? Should I ignore the market? Should I call someone? Should I panic quietly at 2 a.m. like a normal person and pretend everything is fine the next morning? The buckets do not remove every hard decision, but they make the decisions less chaotic. When the market is down, Bucket 1 can keep paying the bills. Bucket 2 can provide the next layer of support. Bucket 3 can be given time to recover if the plan is built well and the retiree can stay disciplined. That last part matters. The strategy only works if the retiree actually respects the buckets. One common mistake is treating Bucket 1 like extra spending money. If the cash bucket is there for bills and emergencies, it should not quietly become the vacation bucket, the grandchild gift bucket, the new furniture bucket, and the I deserve this bucket. Once that happens, the whole system gets weaker. Another mistake is never refilling Bucket 1. The point is not to set the buckets once and ignore them forever. A bucket system needs attention. Maybe once or twice a year, some retirees review where the money is, what was spent, what needs to be replenished, and whether the plan still fits their life. A third mistake is making the buckets too complicated. Some people turn a simple idea into a spreadsheet monster. They create too many categories, too many rules, too many moving pieces, and then they stop using it because it becomes annoying. The best version is usually simple enough to remember. Money for now, money for soon, money for later. That is the whole picture. The reason this works so well for many retirees is that it matches real life. Retirement is not one giant number. It is a series of monthly bills, occasional surprises, future needs, and emotional decisions. A portfolio may look fine on paper, but if the retiree does not know where next year's cash is coming from, the plan can still feel fragile. On the other hand, a retiree with a clear system may feel calmer with less money, simply because the next few years are organized. That does not mean everyone needs the exact same buckets. Some people have pensions, some people have social security that covers most bills. Some people have rental income, some people have large savings, some people have smaller savings and need a different approach. The bucket strategy is a framework, not a command, but the question behind it is useful for almost everyone. What money will I use now? What money will I use if the next few years get rough? What money should be left alone for the future? If a retiree can answer those three questions clearly, retirement often feels less like guessing and more like managing. And that may be the real goal. Not to beat every market, not to predict every crisis, not to build a plan that never changes. The goal is to avoid being forced into bad decisions at bad times. Because in retirement, peace does not only come from having money. It comes from knowing which money is supposed to do what. So, the three-bucket strategy is not really about buckets. It is about jobs. Some money protects this year. Some money protects the next few years. Some money protects the person you will be 10 or 20 years from now. And when those jobs are clear, retirement can feel a lot less confusing. Do you think the three-bucket strategy makes retirement easier to understand, or do you prefer keeping everything in one simple account?